murder wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer the lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Children of the Atom, number 6, by Vita Ayala and Paco Medina. And in this video, we are going to learn exactly how the other Children of the Atom are going to respond to learning that Carmen, aka Gimmick, is actually a mutant when the rest of them are just normal humies. More importantly, we're also going to learn a little bit more about the character Buddy, aka Cyclops-Lass. We're also going to get a definitive answer on whether or not Carmen and Buddy are compatible, whether or not they actually are going to have any kind of a relationship going forward, now with everything that has been put out and laid out to bear about the truth behind Carmen's abilities, and more importantly, what Carmen's abilities actually are. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoy the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button, because it really helps the channel out. Now that that's said, let's talk about the final issue of Children of the Atom. Okay, so when last we left off with Children of the Atom, Storm had come to the home of Carmen and basically let them know that they're a mutant. They have been invited to the Hellfire Gala. Cerebro picked up on their brain scans and revealed that yes, they are in fact a mutant. The transformations, the weird things we've seen Carmen go through in the previous issues of Children of the Atom, we now know for a fact, yes, she was manifesting her mutant X gene. And more importantly, we know a little bit more about what exactly her mutant X gene is. Her abilities are not related to Gambit's in any way, shape, form, or fashion, as I kind of posited in my previous video that there's something there, like she had some kind of metamorphic capabilities, but it also would not have surprised me if she did in fact have similar abilities to Gambit, but that's not the case. She seems to, in a lot of ways, where I initially thought maybe she was closer to the character like Wolfsbane or Feral, that she could turn into a more monstrous form. It's actually not what it was. She actually has the ability to shapeshift and to become pretty much whatever she wants. We see this explained a little bit more in a later part of the comic, where when the team is going up against Horde culture, she transforms into one of them to trick the rest of the group into handing over a special flower that they were trying to steal, and is able to throw the rest of the group off of their game. And she even attracts the attention at the Hellfire Gala of one Mystique, who has seemed to taken a really vested interest in wanting to learn more about the character Gimmick. Now, we don't know what name Carmen is going to take, whether or not she's going to continue to use the name Gimmick or take on an entirely different name now that she has been recognized as a mutant. And even at the Hellfire Gala, Storm even kind of tries to give her some tips and pointers on how mutants choose their names, but that's all neither here nor there. To me, the story is more about how the rest of her friends in the Children of the Atom, how they respond to this. Now, in the previous issue, it seemed as though Buddy was 100% surprised and happy to learn that Carmen was in fact a mutant, but we learn in this issue, things actually kind of change almost right off the rip. We get in the very final page of Children of the Atom number 5, Buddy has a look of joy on their face, but when we get to this issue, Buddy is completely inconsolable. Buddy is going off. Buddy thinks that Carmen has been hiding things from them. Buddy feels like Carmen's a liar, that they can't trust them, and if Carmen would hide something like this, then what else would Carmen hide from them? In the eyes of Buddy, this makes Carmen an untrustworthy teammate, and this pushes Carmen to even strike back at Buddy, even pointing out the fact that Buddy is a user, that Buddy wants so bad to be a mutant and is so jealous that they're not a mutant, that instead it was Carmen who actually turned out to be a mutant, not them. But Carmen points out that Buddy even pretended to be cool with Cole just so that they could get their hands on some clothes to try to steal some Quotey Fingers mutant DNA to sneak through a Krakoan gate and go to the Hellfire Gala. Buddy's entire demeanor in this first part of this comic kind of made me almost completely 180 on this character. I've actually, for the most part, been, even when Buddy's kind of had some problematic ideas, I've kind of gravitated towards the character of Cyclops-Lass because I felt like this was a character that had a lot of nuance and gravitas to them, and multiple dimensions, and that is still the case. But I don't know, man. It was really tough for me to back Buddy on any of this because honestly, in a lot of this, Carmen is 100% correct. Carmen was right to keep what was going on with her a secret. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know how to compartmentalize it. She needed to process it first before she could tell anybody what was going on with her. And Buddy needs to understand that. You would think if anyone being, a super duper mega X-Men stan would get about, what it means to know, to find out something and not know how to deal with it and keep it to yourself, you would think Buddy would get that more than anybody else. But ultimately, this entire conversation, a lot of this is basically a nod towards gatekeeping and how we as fans and even just as people in general, how a lot of times we can treat others as lesser for not being as into something as maybe we are. You see this a lot with, and I'm not going to apologize for this either, but you see this a lot with people who are huge fans of Rick and Morty. They feel like they're owed something, that they're better than everybody else because they like a show, and they feel like, oh, well, I like this show and this makes me superior to everybody else because it's a smart show, which, quotey fingers, smart show, and I get it and nobody else does. And if I get it more than anybody else or no one else gets it as much as I do, then they're not as big a fan as me. We also see this a lot in comics as well. Gatekeeping with comics and anime and video games. We see this all the time where people are like, oh, well, wait a minute, I'm a fan of this. Oh, well, you're a fan of this? Well, are you as big a fan as me? Like, it becomes this competition and a pissing contest, and it's stupid and juvenile. And I think once people get older, you kind of get away from it because that's kid shit, but that's neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, Carmen, as we learned in the pages of X Factor number 10, Carmen did in fact go to the Hellfire Gala, and while she was nervous in going there initially, she eventually embraced it as she was surrounded by mutants everywhere. She got to meet all kinds of different characters. And there is a very interesting moment that comes up, and I don't know if this is actually going to pay dividends down the road, but there is a point where Carmen actually bumps into the Hell's Bells, who, for some of you who may or may not remember, in the pages of Children of the Atom number 1 and 2, the Hell's Bells went to war with the Children of the Atom. It was a very interesting thing because right now Carmen's by herself, and the characters Tremolo, Flambe, and Vague, they are at the gala and they see Carmen by herself. They recognize her and they're gonna try and gang up on her. Now, this instance actually takes place almost immediately after Carmen has interacted with Mystique, and it's kind of made me wonder if there's something more going on here, or if it's just, more, hey, let's pit the Avengers versus the X-Men type deal. But there's a point where Danny Moonstar, aka Mirage, steps in and, for all intents and purposes, scares the shit out of the Hell's Bells and makes them leave Carmen alone. And then there's a part where a little after this, we see Captain America, and he's like, oh, hey, Danny Moonstar's over there. And Captain Marvel just simply remarks that it couldn't be because she would have come over here and said hi already if it actually were her. And it kind of begs the question, was that really Danny Moonstar? Was it some kind of a seed being planted to let us know that Mystique is actually paying more attention to Carmen than what we initially thought? Who knows? I don't know. It may be much ado about nothing. It could literally be nothing. It could literally be everything. But all in all, the whole time that Carmen is at the gala, she is having a great time, but ultimately she misses her friends and she wants to get back to that. And she does eventually go back and embrace them, and she does return to them when they need her, when they're up against Horde culture, because for as much as people like to make fun of the fact that Horde culture is just a bunch of old ladies, how the hell can they beat the pants off of superheroes or whatever? Yeah, Horde culture, they may be old, but they have the tech and the experience to back up a lot of their plays. And I do appreciate the fact that Vita Ayala in this comic does actually, through the character Gabe, refer to them as the Golden Girls, which I think is awesome, because that's a lot of the time what I call them, and what the fandom as a whole has tended to call them as well. But I did appreciate the fact that Gimmick did come back and help her friends, and that they were able to patch things up and get things back on track, where Buddy finally, getting over themselves and realizing that they actually had some kind of deeper thing going on, and is the reason why they responded to Carmen the way they did, even going as far as to admitting the fact that it is due to the fact that they don't know how to deal with relationships with other women, because Buddy has never had really any relationship with another woman, and that as a result of that, because of the fact that Buddy's mother died giving birth to her, all she's ever had is her father. She has no idea how to interact with women at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that she never really completely grasped the concept of whether or not she had actual feelings for Carmen, or if this was just how normal female relationships, and friendships are supposed to work. And even admitting the fact out loud, finally, that while Buddy was into Gabe, Buddy was also into Carmen, and that honestly, she loves them both. But it also kind of brings this whole thing together. I kind of thought they were gonna do this whole like polyamory thing, but that's actually not what's gonna happen here. Gabe is actually going to, kind of go his own way. He doesn't really want to be in a relationship with anybody, and Carmen and Buddy, he feels like they are better suited to be together, which is exactly what is going to happen. Carmen and Buddy are going to do their own thing. They're going to become an item, and even though Carmen is actually going to go spend time on Krakoa, Buddy is in fact going to stay the course of being in a relationship with Carmen. They're going to try and make this work. And even though technically it's a long distance relationship, it's not really. I mean, it's Krakoa and Gates, literally a step away. They can see each other anytime they want to. There's no restriction there. If Carmen wants, Carmen could probably even have Buddy come visit the island. It's, you never know. Everything is a case-by-case basis. It's not like this whole exclusionary thing where, no one gets to go anywhere. It's also a thing that I think was very interesting that comes up in this comic in regards to how Carmen's parents respond to Carmen being a mutant, how she comes out to them, how initially they thought that she was coming out about being a lesbian. And that's actually not the case. I mean, even though they guessed right that yes, she is a lesbian, that's not what she wanted to talk about. She actually wanted to talk about being a mutant. She even kind of reflects on how she knows her father feels about mutants. And I thought it was a very interesting juxtaposition there in terms of storytelling, because we see how angry and how adamant her father is about mutants, how he feels that they're dangerous and he doesn't like Charles Xavier. He thinks that, the mutants are going to cause a lot of problems, that Krakoa is doing too much. But even in the face of all that, admitting that his feelings actually are more complex than that. It's not a simple matter of the fact that he just blanket statement full stop hates mutants. He just doesn't like the way things are going right now, and that there's more nuance to it than that. And I really appreciated how even in his anger at other things, he's still able to accept his own child, that he doesn't care whether or not she's a lesbian or a mutant or whatever. He accepts her. And I thought that was a very nice, interesting touch, considering, like, once again, some of the things we've seen in the past where parents discover that their children are mutant, that is something we did used to have to deal with a lot of back in the day. Who all remembers Iceman and learning about how his parents felt about him, or Angel and how his parents felt about him? It's not every day that we come across mutants who have parents who are totally accepting of their child's mutant abilities. And in this particular case, we got it. And I don't know if we would have gotten that with some of the other parents of the Children of the Atom. We don't know. But I do appreciate the fact that the Children of the Atom are actually going to rebrand themselves, because they now recognize that what they were doing was wrong, that they were pretending to be people that they weren't, that they were pretending to be something. They were basically, for all intents and purposes, they were being culture vultures in terms of trying to pretend to be mutants. And they realize that now, and that they're going to be more honest and open about it, that they are, like as Nighty Nightcrawler says, this isn't a rebranding, it's a proper introduction, that they are basically going to be out there doing the same things they've always been doing, helping people when they can, however they can, but this time being more open and honest about who they truly are. And of course, we know Cradle is still looking for them. That's neither here nor there. But either way, I thought this was really awesome. It was a really fun, solid issue that answered all the questions, wrapped up everything nice and neat. But this is actually the final issue as far as I'm aware. I don't believe there's going to be another issue after this. I haven't seen anything anyways for Children of the Atom number 7. I believe 6 was actually in fact its final issue. If not, I could be completely and totally wrong, but when I looked it up, it seemed like this was pretty much it. And while I hate that the series is over, I feel like it's better to go out on a strong high note than to overstay your welcome. Not to say that the book was in danger of doing that, but I could easily see where the story could have gone completely off the rails if left unchecked. But Vita Ayala did a very fantastic job of crafting the story, telling this narrative in a way that is similar yet different enough from things we've already seen. And I also personally feel like they really injected a lot of themselves into this story. It felt organic, it felt real. All the characters, I feel, they gave us something. They felt like real lived and breathed people. Like they didn't feel like caricatures and whatnot. And I know, for me personally, I know that a lot of people don't, like seeing, representation or diversity in their comics because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But the thing is, I mean, you gotta keep that same energy. If you want representation, for yourself, then you can't get angry when other people get it as well. The world is full of so many different people of all different walks of life. There's enough room at the river of representation for all of us to get a sip without anybody going thirsty. Okay, it's okay, it's fine. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to the Children of the Atom and Reign of X. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Children of the Atom, the series as a whole. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.